Well, Rocky and Bullwinkle reached the Pottsylvanian border with the mooseberry bush still intact. But now it seemed that they were going to be stopped just inches short of their goal. For when their friends, the Moon Men, slipped across the border without proper papers, the Pottsylvanian sentry became so enraged that he raised his weapon and pointed it at our heroes.
Hey, now, that thing might be loaded.
Might be. Is loaded.
Stand back, Rocky. I'll protect you. Oh, they got me. Goodbye, Rocky.
Where are you going?
I'm going west. Where do you think?
Yeah, but you weren't hurt.
I'm not?
No, look.
Sure enough, on the other side of the border stood Cloyd, the Moon Man, with his trusty scrooch gun.
Well, somebody got hit.
Sure, look.
It's the sentry. He's been scrooched. Froze solid.
Yep.
Come on, Rocky.
What about Vladimir here?
Oh, he'll be all right as soon as he gets unscrewed.
Well, how long will that be?
About 90 minutes. Cloyd, that says years. Oh, so it does. Well, that's certainly one on me.
Yeah, but what do we do with Vladimir?
Just stand him up. Who's going to notice whether a sentry is scrooched or not?
Sure enough, Vladimir remained motionless at his post from that moment on, and he was very happy. Tourists came to have their pictures taken with him. He was written up in Crime, a Pottsylvanian weekly news magazine, and he served as a model for every sentry in the Pottsylvanian army. Eventually, he was promoted to general, retired, and spent his declining years in his old hometown where he became known as the Pigeon's best friend. Yes, there was no doubt Vladimir was for the birds. But back to our story.
About time, too.
Well, anyway, we're out of Pottsylvania with a mooseberry bush.
Yeah, let's get it back to the government right away.
Hey, look down there. A ship.
And it's headed our way.
But how are we going to get to it?
You forget, Rocky, we can just fade out here and fade in again down on the ship. Like this. Darn, missed it.
Fortunately, Cloyd's aim was better than Gidney's, and he was able to persuade the captain of the small freighter to pick up our heroes. A short while later, the good ship was steaming across the sea toward America.
Well, Bullwinkle, we're going home at last.
I wish we were.
But you are, Gidney.
Back to the moon? You're giving us the bush?
You can't do that, Rock. This is government property.
Don't worry, Bullwinkle. I'm not going to give him the bush.
Then how the ding-dong you going to get him home? Moonwise, that is.
Look, Bullwinkle, why does the government want a secret rocket fuel?
So as we can send a American to the moon.
Right. So my plan is obvious.
Well, certainly it's obvious, but what is it?
Simple. We'll make Americans out of Gidney and Cloyd.
And send them to the moon. Well, great. But how do we make Americans out of them? Paint them red, white, and blue?
Nope. I think I got a better way.
Rocky wouldn't have been so optimistic if he had known what was going on at that moment in a press meeting on Capitol Hill.
Just what does your new bill mean, Senator?
Well, you see, right now it's entirely too easy to become an American. This bill's going to make it tougher.
Now, what do you mean it's easy, Senator?
Well, all you got to do is be born here. This large loophole has got to be plugged up.
Well, how will this new proposal affect Rocky's plans for the Moon Men? Don't miss our next episode, The Washington Whirl, or Rocky Off the Record.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But that trick never worked.
This time for sure. Presto! Well, I'm getting close.
And now it's time for another special feature.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Cinderella who lived with her two sisters. Every night, the two sisters would dress up and go into town where they were popular and sought-after scrubwomen. Night after night, Cinderella would stay home doing the chores.
It's work, work, work. All the time work.
Then, one day, she heard a strange little voice.
Cinderella! Cinderella!
Who let that scream ain't open again.
Hey, watch it, hold it. I'm your fairy godmother.
Oh, boy. All right, change me.
Huh?
Do me over, you know, the gown, jewels, carriage, glass slippers, and like that.
Oh, you mean this model?
Yeah, that's it.
Of course, my dear. Just sign here.
Sign what?
It's our little contract. I'll give you all these things.
I'll sign. There you are.
Fine. There you are. And in return, you sell all this wonderful metal cookware by midnight tonight. Just $39.95 a set.
I gotta sell all these pots and pans?
By midnight. If you want to keep all those goodies. Even we fairy godmothers have to make a living, you know.
But there's only one man in the kingdom rich enough to buy this stuff.
That's right, honey. Prince Fascinato himself.
But Cinderella's fairy godmother didn't know much about royal finance, for the prince was, at that moment, saying to his prime minister,
This balance can't be right, Frobisher. My fortune runs into 6 figures.
Yes, Your Highness, but they're all zeros.
Ah, yeah. But what about the royal sock?
The royal sock is empty, sire. And hark, the creditors are pounding on the castle door.
You mean...
Yes, you have until midnight to raise some money. Lots of money.
But, my dear Frobisher, how?
How else? You must marry a rich heiress.
By midnight?
There's a ball at the castle tonight. Do your best.
So, that night, the prince looked his guests over very carefully.
Uh-oh.
Something, Your Highness?
I think I've got a live one, Frobisher.
And so the prince and Cinderella danced for hours.
You are the loveliest girl in my kingdom. Your eyes, your diamonds...
Those were sure terrible beans we had for dinner.
Beans?
Now, with this skillet, you can cook the waterless way.
Your teeth are like pearls. Your pearls like teeth.
The price includes this oatmeal steamer.
Let us go where we can be alone, darling.
So the prince and Cinderella sought out a moonlit seat in the garden.
Oh, how long I've searched for a girl just like you. Since this afternoon, as a matter of fact.
And I know you're my kind of guy. Real spender.
Psst! Hurry.
What about the creditors?
I can't hold them off past midnight.
Psst. How's it going, dearie?
I'm just about to close the sale.
Tell them about our layaway plan. You've only got an hour left.
So the prince and Cinderella continued to speak of love and saucepans until almost midnight.
Such grace, such beauty, such real cash value. Will you be mine?
There's no vitamin waste, see? And they scour clean in a jiffy.
You've got just 2 minutes.
You have just 2 minutes.
Say yes, my love.
What's $39.95 to a sport like you?
Show him the egg poachers, dearie. Only 70 cents extra.
Give her the bended knee bit. It's almost midnight.
Of course, in such close quarters, the prime minister and the fairy godmother were bound to meet sooner or later.
Your servant, madam.
You're cute, honey. Do you do your own cooking?
Let us seal our love with a kiss.
Just $5 down and pennies a week.
Marry her quick. I've got to pay cash for these pots.
Unfortunately, it was already a little too late. First, Cinderella lost her permanent, then her jewels, then her gown.
My, you heiresses certainly depreciate fast.
Embarrassed, Cinderella ran from the castle, losing one of her slippers as she did so. The prince, of course, was finally cornered by his creditors.
Frobisher!
He's not here, honey, but maybe I can be of some assistance.
So Cinderella returned to her old home and her old job.
Work, work, work. All the time work. Who's there?
How do you do, miss?
I know who you are. You're the prince.
Yes, it was the prince. Real love had triumphed at last. The world became alive to the tempo of romance. The birds and the bees sang out. 1,000 stars fell on the lovely young girl and the handsome prince.
Young lady, I have here...
I know. You have my slipper.
Now, as a matter of fact, it's brushes.
Brushes?
Yes, some old lady has me selling them door to door.
I told you, honey. I've got to make a living somehow.
And now, once again, to give you an insight on his outlook, Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello, low IQers. Today's discussion concerns how to tame lions and pick up a little scratch on the side of your head. In order to tame a lion, one needs 4 items. A whip, a gun, a chair, and a tame lion. Like Teddy here. Got up on the wrong side of the cage, didn't we? First, we proceed to test the whip. This is done by snuffing out a candle that sits on the head of a small flying squirrel.
You sure you know what you're doing, Mr. Know-It-All?
Haven't missed yet. We are now prepared to face the lion. Are you ready, Teddy? Now for my next subject, how to run the 4-minute mile in 30 seconds with whip and chair.
Wait a minute. Aren't you going to show us how to tame a lion?
Not with Teddy being as ready as he is.
Oh, come on.
Very well, I shall tame him with hypnotism. Teddy, look into my eyes. Now I am the master. You are the slave. You are in my power. Now I shall demonstrate the most dangerous feat of all, putting my head into Teddy's mouth. Teddy!
That's wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello out there. Peabody here. And of course you know Sherman.
Where are we going today, Mr. Peabody?
Back to the 13th century, Sherman, for a visit to a very famous palace.
Does vaudeville go back that far?
Not the RKO Palace, the palace belonging to Kublai Khan, Emperor of all China. For today, the Wayback Machine will introduce us to that legendary world traveler, Marco Polo. Performing with its customary brilliance, the Wayback teleported Sherman and I into Kublai Khan's magnificent palace. However, you can imagine our dismay at finding Marco Polo inside a cell. And of all things, sewing.
Tell me your size and then leave. I'm very busy.
Size?
Your shirt size. Isn't that what you come for?
No, we came to see you, Mr. Polo.
That's strange. Everyone who comes in here usually wants me to make a shirt for them.
Polo shirts?
Sure. I make the mistake of teaching the Chinese how to play polo. Now I am compelled to make a genuine polo shirt for every man and woman and child in China.
Why don't you escape?
Because I wouldn't get very far. At least not without my passport.
Kublai Khan?
Yeah, he's steal it from me.
Sherman and I demanded an immediate audience with the great Khan.
You think I am a fool? Polo shirts is very big business for us. Now please to depart from Honorable Khan's presence.
Not without Marco's passport.
So, you wish to acquire a passport? Tell you what Khan gonna do. We're gonna gamble for it. Passport against your lives.
It's a deal.
We play one fast game of Chinese checkers. Winner take all.
The play began cautiously. It was during the middle of the game that I learned Kublai Khan couldn't be trusted. Not only was my opponent a master strategist, but he indulged in subterfuge, such as burning incense that clouded my vision, and occasionally referring to a book guaranteed to shake anyone's confidence. But in the end, superior intellect won out.
Well, it look like you win. All right. Kublai know when he been conned. You get passport. You like a try for 2?
Thank you, no. 1 is all we require. We returned to Marco's cell and related the good news. However, no sooner were we inside...
We're locked in.
More Kublai Khan's dirty work.
Yes, but there's more than one way of skinning a Khan. Any tools about?
I got a needle and thread.
Thread will do.
Gee, Mr. Peabody, you're good enough to be in a rodeo.
I twirled my miniature lariat between the bars and encircled a ring of keys hanging on the wall. In a matter of minutes, we were free.
So far, so good. What's next?
The quickest way out of China is by boat. Head for the river. We arrived at the water's edge, but the only thing we found was a tiny rowboat.
Hey, couldn't I wait until something bigger came along?
And something did. Kublai Khan, followed by a horde of savage warriors who promptly lined both sides of the shore. This calls for a slight alteration in plans. I instructed Marco to row past Kublai Khan as fast as was humanly possible.
But those warriors have spears. Suppose they throw them.
The only thing they'll throw are words of encouragement. Come, Sherman, there's work to be done.
Now hear this. Aim spear at first thing that float down river.
You do, and you'll spoil the race.
What are you talking about?
The International Rowboat Regatta. We talked Marco Polo into rowing for China.
You did?
Of course, he doesn't stand much of a chance in a Chinese boat.
And what is wrong with Chinese boat?
Nothing. I merely...
I bet you 20 yen Marco win.
You're on.
Look, Imperial One! Escape prisoner coming down river! Shall we kill him?
Hey, you crazy? I got yen bet on that boy. Come on, Marco!
And so as the sun slowly settled in the west, so did Marco. Kublai Khan won his bet, Marco his freedom.
Well, at least he gave China the sport of polo.
He gave them one other sport, Chairman. Every afternoon, Marco would smack a rubber ball against the palace wall. Naturally, it caught on big with the Chinese population. And when that many people play handball, you need a lot of wall.
Is that why they built the Great Wall?
That's why, Sherman.
Well, Rocky's plans for Gidney and Cloyd to become the first Americans on the moon have hit a snag in the person of Senator Fussmusson of the Citizenship Committee.
Too many people are claiming to be Americans. Alaskans, Hawaiians, Californians. It's disgraceful.
Senator acts to stop moon men.
We'll never get home again.
Nonsense. We're going to teach you to be Americans.
Yeah, time we get finished, you'll look as American as I do.
I'd really rather not.
Bring in our whole library of books, Bullwinkle.
Here they are, Rock. The Farmer's Almanac, the Bobbsey Twins at Camp Wahoo, and my personal bound volume of ghastly comics.
The boys set to work to convert the moon men, Gidney and Cloyd, into typical Americans. Unfortunately, their idea of what an American should know was rather limited.
Okay, Gidney. How many days in September?
30 days has September.
Right. Say you're getting as smart as me.
How do you make fire without matches?
Rub two Boy Scouts together?
No.
Oh, sticks. Rub two sticks?
That's it. Well, Bullwinkle, I guess they're ready to become Americans.
Yep. Sorta gets you right in here, don't it?
Yeah, I'm just quietly proud.
But the next day in Senator Fussmusson's committee room, the moon men didn't make out so well.
If the president doesn't sign a bill, how many days before it becomes a law?
30 days has September, April, June, and November.
Apart from congressional action, how may a bill be introduced?
By rubbing two sticks together?
What?
How are they doing, Bullwinkle?
Oh, they're getting the answers perfect, Rock.
Good.
Only thing is, he keeps asking the wrong questions.
Sure enough, the two moon men were quickly ejected from the committee room, but they didn't seem at all unhappy.
Well, we made it. We'll never be able to thank you enough, Rocky.
What do you mean?
You flunked your exam, didn't you?
Oh, more than that. Senator Fussmusson says we shouldn't even be allowed in the country.
Oh?
So guess what? He's deporting us, sending us back where we came from.
You mean the M-U-N-E moon?
That's right. And of course, there's only one way we can get there.
The mooseberry bush.
You're gonna go by bush? Sounds a little scratchy.
No, Bullwinkle. We'll use the mooseberry bush to make your secret rocket fuel.
Oh, of course. It's been so long, I almost forgot the plot. Well, let's go.
And within a few days, Bullwinkle had whipped up an exact duplicate of his Grandma Moose's fudge cake batter.
Just slip it in this blast chamber, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Of course, all official Washington turned out for the moon men's departure. Senator Fussmusson himself bade them goodbye.
Goodbye. Now close the hatch and blast off.
Right.
But when Bullwinkle slammed the hatch closed, he caught the tail of Senator Fussmusson's coat.
10, 9, 8.
What's this? My coat is caught.
6, 5, 4.
Well, take your coat off.
That wouldn't be dignified.
I got it.
3, 2.
Quickly, Rocky zoomed to the president's chair and whispered in his ear.
1, 0. Fire.
Somebody do something.
Very well. Senator Fussmusson, I appoint you the new ambassador to the moon.
And as the crowd cheered, the spaceship bearing Gidney Cloyd and our first interplanetary diplomat zoomed upward and out of sight.
Well, Bullwinkle, Well, you did it again.
Yeah, once the hero, always a hero, I guess.
You said it, Bullwinkle.
Didn't I, though?
And the boys trudged away from the airport and into a brand new adventure. Don't miss the beginning of it in the next chapter of Rocky, the Flying Squirrel.